The room felt charged with tension. Every cast member sat in silence, each person aware that something big was about to happen, but no one quite knew what it was. Spice sat at the far end of the room, eyes calm and focused, her posture unflinching as she prepared herself to drop the truth, the bombshell that had been building for weeks. On the other side, Bambi fidgeted nervously, her hands trembling slightly as she tried to maintain her composure. She had spent so much time weaving a web of lies that she thought she could control it. But as the days passed, the walls began to close in. And today, those walls were about to collapse. Her heart beat faster as she glanced at Spice, a feeling of unease building inside her. Bambi tried to mask her fear, pushing her insecurities aside, but her eyes flickered. She knew this wasn't just another confrontation. Spice was serious. And Spice was dangerous when it came to exposing people's truths. Spice stood up slowly, her movements deliberate and calculated, each step taken with precision. She walked across the room, her gaze locked onto Bambi. And the moment she spoke, the entire atmosphere shifted. "I think it's time we all know who the real Bambi is," she said coolly, her voice clear, almost like the calm before the storm. Bambi's stomach turned. She could feel everyone's eyes on her now, their silent judgments pressing down like 1,000 weights. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice shakier than she intended. She glanced around, hoping someone would speak up, hoping someone would say it was all just a misunderstanding, but no one did. They were all watching her, waiting for the truth. Spice didn't flinch. She pulled out her phone, tapping the screen with a sense of finality. "Let me show you something," she said, holding the phone up for the rest of the room to see. The video loaded. Spice pressed play. The room collectively gasped as the screen flickered to life. The video showed Bambi, not with Scrappy, but with someone else. Someone Spice knew all too well. Bambi was leaning into a man's embrace, her laughter filling the audio as she whispered sweet words to him. The man wasn't just some random guy. He was Spice's ex. The betrayal hit the room harder than a slap. Bambi's heart skipped a beat as she watched the video play. There it was, undeniable proof. She had been caught in the most intimate and vulnerable moment, and there was no way to explain it away. The lies, the manipulation, everything she had built her life on, shattered in an instant. "You think this is a joke?" Spice's voice broke through the tension, ice cold and full of contempt. "This is your reality, Bambi. This is who you really are. You've been playing all of us. You've been lying to Scrappy, to everyone here, and now the truth is out." Bambi's face turned pale. Her hands shook as she tried to respond, but no words came. The weight of the betrayal was too much. The shame was too much. She opened her mouth to explain herself, but nothing came out. The words were stuck, lodged in her throat like a truth she couldn't deny. "I've been patient, but this is the last straw," Spice continued. Her eyes never left Bambi as she calmly assessed her, savoring the moment of her own victory. "And this isn't just the end of your little affair. This is the end of your charade. All those times you tried to be the perfect wife, the perfect woman, while secretly, behind everyone's back, you were doing this." Bambi struggled to catch her breath. Her eyes darted around the room. She saw the looks of disbelief, the disgust in the faces of people who had once supported her, once called her a friend. They had all been fooled, just like Scrappy. And now they knew everything. "No, that's not what it looks like," Bambi protested weakly. She stood up, her knees wobbling, trying to maintain some semblance of control. I never meant for it to go this far. It was just a stupid mistake. It doesn't mean anything." Spice's response was swift and merciless. "A mistake? You were in my ex's bed, Bambi. This isn't some mistake. This is betrayal. And you've been hiding it all along, trying to manipulate everyone into believing you were the victim." Bambi opened her mouth to argue again, but the words wouldn't come. Spice had exposed her. The truth was hanging in the air like a heavy fog. There was no way out of this. No excuse could fix the broken trust. Not with Scrappy, not with the cast, and certainly not with herself. As the room absorbed the weight of Spice's words, Bambi's gaze flickered toward Scrappy, standing frozen at the back. His face was a mask of shock, confusion, and pain. The man who had stood by her through everything, the good and the bad, was now standing there, betrayed, broken. His eyes met hers, and she could see the hurt in them. She could feel the distance growing with every second. Scrappy didn't scream. He didn't yell. He didn't even lash out. He just stood there, jaw clenched, chest rising and falling with each heavy breath. His hands balled into fists at his sides as the weight of the truth sank in. "You don't deserve this." "Scrappy," Spice said, her voice softer now but still filled with conviction. "You've been played. All of us have." Bambi's heart dropped as she turned to face him. She saw the look in his eyes. No words, just deep, unspoken pain. She reached out, but Scrappy took a step back, shaking his head. "Don't," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Don't you dare try to explain it now." The room was deathly silent, except for Bambi's shallow breaths and Scrappy's steady exhale. She reached for him again, but he couldn't bring himself to respond. It was too much to handle, too much to forgive. "I gave you everything, Bambi," Scrappy said, his voice cracking as he finally found his words. "I loved you, and you used me. You used my love, my trust, and turned it into this." The finality of his words hit Bambi like a tidal wave. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. There was nothing left to say, nothing to fix it, nothing to take back. It was over. Scrappy turned on his heel and walked out, his footsteps echoing in the silent room. Bambi watched him go, and in that moment, she realized just how much she had lost, not just the trust of the people she cared about, not just her marriage, but herself. She had lost who she was, all for the sake of a lie. The cast members stood in silence, the weight of the moment hanging over them. Some exchanged looks. Others turned away. Spice stood tall, her eyes never leaving Bambi as the room continued to buzz with the aftermath of the betrayal. Mamadee, who had been watching from the corner, stepped forward. She had seen enough. This wasn't just a betrayal of love, it was a betrayal of family. She knew her son needed her now more than ever, and she wouldn't let Bambi manipulate him any longer. "I'm going live," Mamadee said firmly, her eyes filled with fire. "And when I do, you'll all hear the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth." She stepped toward her phone, already preparing for the battle ahead. She would protect her son, no matter what it took. The chaos in the room lingered like a fog that refused to lift. Bambi stood frozen, her world crumbling with every passing second. It wasn't just Spice's betrayal that stung. It was the truth she had hidden from everyone for so long. A secret child, a secret affair, a marriage built on lies. But what hurt even more than the bombshell dropped by Spice was the cold, empty silence that followed Scrappy's departure. His words echoed in her mind over and over. "I gave you everything, Bambi. I loved you, and you used me." How could she have let it go this far? How could she have destroyed everything they had built? Her eyes burned with the sting of unshed tears. But there were no more tears left. Her body shook, not with emotion this time, but with pure fear. The truth had been exposed, and the world was watching. There was no way out now. Bambi's gaze shifted to the screen, where the video played on a loop. Her affair, the man who wasn't Scrappy, Spice's ex, her deepest betrayal, caught on camera for everyone to see. The whispers that had surrounded her for weeks. The suspicion in the eyes of her castmates. The rumors that had followed her like shadows. Now, undeniable facts. She felt trapped, suffocating in her own lies. Every word she'd spoken for the past few years now felt like poison. Every smile, every gesture, every "I love you" she had told Scrappy now felt hollow. She had deceived him in the cruelest way possible. And now, she had no idea how to fix it. As the video ended, the silence returned. Even the producers, normally braced for drama, were stunned. This was beyond television. This was devastation. The silence shattered again, this time by the storm that was Mamadee. Her presence alone sent a shiver down everyone's spine. She wasn't just angry. She was furious. "Where the hell is my son?" she demanded, her voice powerful and commanding. No one dared to answer. She was a force, a whirlwind of protective rage. She could see the devastation in Scrappy's eyes, even through the cracks in his stoic face. He was lost, and she wasn't about to let him fall any further. Mamadee lifted her phone, ready to speak to the world. As the live stream began, her voice was steady, a mix of anger and resolve. "I'm here today, not just as Scrappy's mother," she said, "but as a woman who's... I've seen enough lies in this industry," Mamadee said sharply. "Enough manipulation, enough heartache, and I'm here to tell you all that Bambi is done playing my son. She's done playing with his heart, and she's done playing with all of us. There's no way I'm letting her get away with this." The camera zoomed in as Mamadee continued. Her words are like daggers. This isn't just about love anymore. This is about trust, about family. And let me tell you something. I'm demanding a DNA test for that baby. I'm not buying the lies. I'm not letting anyone manipulate my son any longer. Her words hit harder than the video itself. Bambi's entire facade began to crumble as she stood there, helpless, unable to defend herself. Everyone in the room was either watching or recording. This wasn't just a private betrayal anymore, it was public knowledge. The world was witnessing her fall from grace. Bambi tried to speak, but her voice faltered. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She had no defense left. Everything she had built, the friendships, the image, the lies, was shattering in front of her, and she couldn't stop it. Scrappy's phone buzzed, but he didn't answer. He had already left the set, too devastated to stay. Mamadee's live stream had gone viral, and every word she spoke was now being shared, dissected, and commented on across the internet. Taking a deep breath, she steadied herself. I'm not here to play games, least of all with Bambi. She's going to answer for her lies. And I'll be standing right by my son, making sure he's protected. I won't let this slide. Not now, not ever. Behind her, Bambi's heart sank as the full weight of Mamadee's words hit her. The world was against her now. There was no escape. The truth had come out in the most humiliating way possible. And no apology or explanation could fix the damage. As Mamadee ended her stream, her anger didn't fade. It intensified. She knew Bambi wouldn't walk away from this unscathed. I'm going to make sure Scrappy gets everything he deserves, she muttered. And Bambi? She's going to pay for what she's done. As Mamadee left to find Scrappy, the rest of the room sat in stunned silence. Everyone was still processing what they had just witnessed, the betrayal, the lies, the manipulation. Bambi had been playing everyone for far too long, and now, the truth had crashed down on her like a tidal wave. Even as cast members exchanged glances, there was one thing they all knew. This drama was far from over. If anything, it had just begun. Bambi sat alone in the corner, isolated, surrounded by the whispering of her castmates. The walls, once comforting, now felt like they were closing in on her. The video, the affair, the leaked messages. Everything she had tried so hard to hide had been exposed in an instant. Mamadee's voice echoed in her head, relentless. I'm demanding a DNA test. This wasn't just for Scrappy's sake. It was a declaration. Mamadee would not allow her son to be humiliated. Bambi's thoughts spiraled. Her marriage, her image, her place on the show. Everything was crumbling, and there was no way to undo it. No magical apology. No quick fix. No way to hide behind a polished confession. This was real, and the damage was done. But Bambi wasn't the type to go down quietly. She'd been in the game too long. Now, she would fight to salvage whatever dignity she had left. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Her fingers hovered over the screen. She had been caught. No denying that. The video had done more than reveal an affair. It had exposed the manipulation. Spice's bombshell had destroyed her. But the worst blow hadn't landed yet. Across the room, cast members huddled, whispering. Some reeling, others choosing sides. A few pretended to stay neutral. But Bambi knew better. They were watching, judging, waiting. And then there was Mamadee. Producers were scrambling to regain control, but it was obvious Mamadee's next move would define the rest of the season. She had made it clear. Bambi wouldn't walk away unpunished. Not this time. Bambi had underestimated her. A mother who loved her son so fiercely she'd do anything to protect him. Now Mamadee was her worst nightmare. But Spice wasn't finished either. She remained calm in her corner. She had dropped the bomb, but she had more cards to play. Let her dig herself deeper, Spice whispered with a smirk. I've already won. Still, Bambi wasn't going to take this lying down. She had a plan. She wasn't going to let her name be dragged through the mud. Not without a fight. She grabbed her phone and began typing. There was a message she needed to send. A side of the story that needed to be told. The apology wouldn't be enough. She needed something bigger. Something to change the narrative. Let me control this, she muttered. A mix of anger and desperation in her voice. Yes, she'd been exposed. But it wasn't over. Not yet. First, she needed answers. She needed to talk to Scrappy. No more games. No more lies. Just the truth, even if it meant losing everything to regain some control. Her phone buzzed again. Scrappy, Meet me outside. Her heart skipped a beat. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't accusing. Just that message, simple, direct, cutting through the noise. She stood up quickly and wiped her eyes. She had to face him. Outside, the sun was setting. Shadows stretched across the pavement like ghosts. It was the calm before the storm. Scrappy was already there.
Back turned.
Silent. Scrappy, she called, her voice trembling. We need to talk. He turned slowly. His face hardened the moment he saw her. The pain in his eyes was undeniable. The love that had once been there, replaced by betrayal. I don't know what to say to you anymore, Bambi, he said, voice low and strained. You've lied to me for so long. I don't even know who you are. Her heart clenched. I'm sorry, she whispered, stepping forward. I never meant for it to go this far. I love you. He shook his head. You don't get to say that now. Not after everything.